Hey guys, so it's me, Nicolette Mashile. Again, I'm going live on YouTube to try and explain or to, what's the right word, to clarify prescription and what prescribed date is, because I'm getting a feeling that everybody so desperately wants their date to become prescribed without the conditions of prescription actually being met. So, first and foremost, debt is ultimately proportioned into different types of debt. The debt that I'm specifically speaking about in my last YouTube video is what we call contractual or delictual debt. That is your clothing accounts, your gym accounts. Those are you bought a furniture. So this is your contractual debt that you would pay on a monthly basis. This debt prescribes after 3 years. Now, it's important for you to understand what prescription actually is and why the law was brought about, if that's the right English word. First and foremost, when you have debt, most of our debt is compounding debt. It's not simple interest debt. In other words, that's why you heard when the what's that saying by Albert Einstein, or he's known to have said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Those who understand it will earn it, and those who don't understand it will pay it. And we specifically looking at the payment side of it, because if you have compounding debt, if you do not pay, what happens is when they calculate how much interest you were supposed to pay that month, they will add on that interest onto your outstanding balance, which means that if you are owing 4,000 Rand this month and your interest that is worked out is an additional 400 Rand, you would owe 4,400. But because you don't make the payment, what happens is next month they're going to calculate how much you owe based on 4,400. That is what we talk about when we say a debt is compounding, which then means that if you do not pay for 3 years, and you just allow the debt to keep compounding, it is going to accrue a very high interest. Now, the law of prescription then comes and says that creditors, the people that you owe, need to institute a legal process against you within the 3 years of your debt being active, so that it is not unfair for them to institute that same legal process after the 3 years. In other words, they need to make sure that if you default first month and you don't pay, they should already be saying to you, hey, la, you owe us money, why are you not paying? Second month comes and they keep quiet again. Third month comes and they keep quiet. Fourth month comes. That makes no sense. They should, and they've got the right to ensure that if you are not paying, you are dishonoring your credit agreement. Therefore, they should be able to institute a legal process against you. Now, if they don't do it in 3 years, can you imagine how much interest accrues on a debt after 3 years? So the Prescription Act then says, because we want to protect both the consumer and the creditor, people who you owe in 3 years must institute legal process. After 3 years, if they have not done that, then it means that that debt has become prescribed and you are no longer liable to pay for it. And the Prescription Act therefore protects you from that. Now, people then say, okay, but what type of debt prescribes? As I said, there is different types of debt and it prescribes in different manners. The debt we were speaking about specifically in the YouTube video is debt that prescribes after 3 years. Government debt, mortgages, which is home loans, bonds, those things prescribe only after 30 years. Now people say, yeah, but now you're giving people a legal way to run away from their debt. I'm not giving you a legal way to run away from your debt, because not paying your debt, that 3 years can become very detrimental to what type of credit rating you end up with. And it can actually stop you from being able to access credit at a later stage when you may really need it. Now, the reality is, just like the example that I used in my video, I, for instance, back when I was at Rhodes University, I did not know these things. I did not know how it works. So me running away from my debt at that point, in essence, was me simply saying, you know what, actually that debt is prescribed. And to be quite honest, not at that time, I didn't know it was prescribed. It was like, I can't pay for it. I didn't know any better. I know better now. And had I actually taken a laptop from that company at now, I would have paid for it because I know what it means when your credit report or your credit rating gets damaged because you are not paying your debt and you're not honoring your credit agreements. So ultimately, what I'm saying is do not pay your debt because you're waiting for 3 years for things to prescribe. Because the day you need a car, the day you need a house, it might come back to bite you, and it's not going to be a nice bite like you have when you're having whatever it is that you guys do when you're biting each other. All right? Very, very important. Now, there are different prescriptions. There's 6-year prescription, there's 3-year prescription, there's 15 years prescription, and there's 30-year prescription. What you can do is you can go on Google and you type in Prescription Act, you download the actual Prescription Act, and you will be able to see when your date actually prescribes. Now, it is important to note that prescribed date will not be on your credit report. And this is simply because it is no longer active date. What used to happen in the past, I don't know if it's happening now, what companies used to do is that when they realize that it's going to cost them more money to go after Nicolette, Nabo Tandi, Nabo Jabu, who are not paying their debt, what they used to do is they used to take their debt book and they used to sell it to a debt collection company. Then the debt collection company are these people that are going to be texting you on a daily basis. Hey, you need to pay. Even if you pay as little as 10 rand, we will not... Paula Dogo Uyashisa, because that is prescribed debt. It is old debt. Do not be abusing me. And remember, the law also says you do not have a responsibility to prove that a debt has prescribed. It is the onus of the debt collector to prove that the debt that they are talking about has not prescribed. So you don't need to stress about those things. However, the biggest mistake that our people make is because they don't know about prescription, or they don't know, or they don't realize that their debt has actually prescribed. What a lot of people then do is that they acknowledge the debt. So acknowledging the debt, making any type of payment arrangement on that debt, or paying even as little as possible, is going to disturb the prescription. So you need to know that your debt has prescribed, so that by the time the debt collector calls you about it, you can simply say, I don't know what you are talking about. Because any debt for me, that is before yesterday. That's why I say just use yesterday, because yesterday is yesterday. Just say any date that I have from yesterday has all prescribed. They will leave you alone. They will leave you alone because it is not, but they are very smart. Debt collectors are very smart. They know how to do this. So they've been doing it for a very long time. They know how to use language and how to get you to acknowledge a certain date. Make sure that you keep that conversation very short. Do not have this conversation. If they want you to pay, tell them, send me an email. And if they ask you, what is your email address? You say, but if you are saying I owe you, you should have my email address. So stop stressing about a debt that has prescribed. But if you have a payment arrangement on your debt and you have been making payments, it means that that debt has not prescribed. It means that you must carry on, my sister, my brother, and honor your credit agreement. Isn't it you went there and you said, wasukele, and you went and asked for a credit? So then you must pay your debts. It's important to pay your debts. Okay, I have a headache today, so I'm going to go work. Yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely day. I hope we can do this again. I didn't even know how to go live on YouTube, but we have done it. We've gone live. So I really do appreciate your guys' time. And I hope that you have a fantastic day and a fantastic week. It's a very heavy week in South Africa right now. So be kind to each other. Thank you and goodbye.